Have you ever looked at the clock in the middle of the night, saw it was exactly 2 a.m., and knew you wouldn't be able to fall back asleep? Frank, 68, of Ohio, shared, "I don't need an alarm. Every night around a.m., I wake up. At first, I thought it was just a coincidence. But then it happened again and again, every day." Frank is not alone. A recent survey by the American Sleep Institute found that more than 55% of people over 60 wake up frequently in the middle of the night, and nearly 40% of them can't get back to sleep right away. What's going on inside the body that causes so many older people to experience this phenomenon? Some people blame it on going to bed too early. Others blame age, prostate problems, or noise in the house. But neurologist Dr. Helen Morris of the Mayo Clinic says waking up at 2 a.m. in older adults is not simply an environmental issue, but a clear biological sign that the brain is entering an unstable melatonin regulation cycle. Melatonin, the hormone responsible for regulating sleep, naturally declines with age. But what's important, according to Dr. Morris, is not the fact that you wake up, but how your body responds afterward. You might be thinking, so why 2 a.m. anyway? Why not 1 a.m. or 5 a.m.? The reason, according to Dr. Leo Garcia, a geriatrician in California, is circadian rhythm. In young people, melatonin peaks around 2 a.m. But in people over 60, this peak is pushed earlier to around 10:30 p.m. By 2 a.m., the hormone begins to decline sharply, causing the brain to send a wake-up signal. That means if you go to bed at 10 p.m., by 2 a.m., your body thinks it has had enough sleep. But the truth is that fragmented sleep does not provide enough delta waves, the most important brain wave form for cell regeneration and nerve recovery. That is why older people often feel heavy-headed, tired, irritable, unfocused, and even anxious the next day, even though their total sleep time seems to be enough. Japanese people, especially those over 80, also often wake up at 2 a.m., but they know how to fall back asleep within just 10 minutes. So what is their secret? A study conducted by Kyoto University monitored the sleep of 212 elderly people over 90 years old in Okinawa, one of the places with the highest rate of centenarians in the world. The results showed that, although they also experienced sleep disruptions at night, it took them only 6 to 10 minutes on average to fall back into deep sleep, and they did not use any medication. In the next section, we will delve into how the Japanese apply a technique called Nakamura Reset, a simple 3-step sequence that Okinawan elders use to fall back to sleep within 10 minutes, completely without the need for medication or support devices. 3 steps Japanese people use to fall back to sleep in 10 minutes without using medications. Many people think that when they wake up at 2 a.m., the only option is to lie down and wait for the morning. But the Japanese, especially the elderly in Okinawa, have a completely different approach. No medication, no counting sheep, no soft music. They use a method called Nakamura Reset, named after Shoji Nakamura, a culinary nutrition teacher who lived to be 102 and never used sleeping pills. Dr. Takashi Morimoto, a sleep specialist at Tokyo Medical University, analyzed the method and confirmed, this is a simple, cost-free technique that directly activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for bringing the body back to a state of deep rest. Here are 3 steps that Japanese people take when they wake up at 2 a.m. and can fall back asleep in just 10 minutes. Step 1. Turn to the left side and hold for 90 seconds. This is not just a lying position. According to the Tokyo Institute of Medical Science, lying on your left side puts slight pressure on the vagus nerve, an important part of the parasympathetic system, thereby slowing the heart rate, lowering blood pressure, and calming the brain. A 2021 study of 88 seniors with chronic insomnia found that 65% of those who slept on their left side were able to fall back asleep within 10 minutes. In contrast, only 28% of those who slept on their right side achieved the same results. Nora, 85 years old, from San Diego, said, "Before I kept tossing and turning and couldn't fall back asleep. But since my daughter told me to try sleeping on my left side, I felt my heart calm down and my eyes droop without realizing it." Step 2. Breathing according to the 4-7-8 rhythm. How to trick the brain back into sleep mode. The 4-7-8 breathing technique is well known in the West, but in Japan, the elderly have been using this method for a long time without naming it specifically. How to do it. Breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 7 seconds. Exhale slowly through your mouth for 8 seconds. Repeat for cycles. Why does it work? Dr. Helen Morris explains. Breathing deeply and slowly like this makes the brain think that the body is safe. There is no danger that needs to be alert. The parasympathetic nervous system is activated, and the body automatically switches to a sleepy state. A test at Harvard University showed people who applied this breathing pattern reduced cortisol levels, stress hormone, by 21% after just 2 minutes. At the same time, they increased alpha and theta brain waves, which are characteristic of the dreamy state before sleep. Frank, who has suffered from insomnia for many years, said, "I used to think deep breathing was useless. But when I combined this breathing pattern with lying on my left side, I almost fell asleep in 5 minutes." Step 3. Listen to hollow sound, the secret of the Okinawan elderly. Not meditation music, not the sound of ocean waves. The elderly in Okinawa call it kuhaku, which means hollow sound. It is actually a form of white noise with a lower frequency than normal, oscillating at 80100 Hz, simulating the sound of gentle wind or heartbeat in the womb. A study at Stanford University is testing this type of sound as a supportive therapy for insomnia in the elderly. Initial results show that people who listen to hollow sound for 10 minutes after waking up have a success rate of falling back to sleep up to 82%. Compared to the group that did not listen, only 48%. Mr. Walter, 87 years old, living in Denver, said, "My nephew installed that hollow sound app for me. At first, I thought it was nothing. But gradually, I felt my mind drifting with the sound, and I fell asleep without knowing when." You can find this sound on some popular sleep apps, or just use a gentle fan in the room. A steady mechanical sound also has a similar effect. 3 small steps, but if done in the right order and persistently, you can wake up to sleep again instead of enduring many tiring hours in the dark. Summary: lie on your left side to activate the nervous system to relax. Breathe 4-7-8 to bring the body back to a pre-sleep state. Listen to hollow sounds to calm the brain and interrupt the train of thought. Interestingly, according to an internal survey by the Japanese Institute of Geriatric Medicine, more than 70% of people over 80 use at least 2 of the 3 methods above every time they wake up at night, and most of them do not need to use sleeping pills. 5 mistakes when waking up at a.m. that make you unable to fall back into sleep. You may have tried lying on your side, taking deep breaths, and even turning on a gentle fan to lull you to sleep. But if you still can't fall asleep, you may be unwittingly making one of the 5 mistakes Japanese people always avoid after waking up at a.m. Your behavior in the first 5 minutes after waking up in the middle of the night will determine whether you can go back to sleep or not, says neurologist Dr. Laura Jenkins of the Minnesota Sleep Health Institute. Some seemingly harmless actions actually activate the brain in the opposite direction, causing it to switch to full wake mode. Here are 5 things you should never do. according to both the experiences of long-lived Japanese people and sleep specialists. 1. Don't look at the clock. You may think it's normal to check the clock, but this behavior literally wakes up the brain. When you look at the clock, your brain starts calculating the time left to sleep, assessing your level of fatigue, and inadvertently creates anxiety, the fastest sleep destroyer. A 2022 study at the University of Michigan found that people who wake up in the middle of the night and look at the clock take an average of 37 minutes longer to fall back asleep. Meanwhile, the group that doesn't look at the clock falls back asleep in just 12 minutes. The long-lived people in Okinawa have a very different habit. They never put a clock or phone next to their bed. When they wake up, they leave everything as it is, without checking, without evaluating, without reacting. 2. Don't turn on the lights, even a small light. Light, especially blue light from phones, digital clocks, or night lights, inhibits the production of melatonin, the hormone that helps you fall asleep. Just one look at your phone screen and your brain will receive a signal. It's morning, time to wake up. According to Dr. Takashi Morimoto in Japan, Okinawa people usually don't use night lights. They believe that sleep should be kept in complete darkness. If they need to go to the bathroom, they use the light from the hallway, never turning on strong lights in the room. Lily, 84 years old in Oregon, said, "I used to turn on a dim light every time I woke up. After listening to the doctor's advice, I switched to a dim amber light in the hallway, and I found it much easier to fall back asleep." 3. Don't get out of bed in the first 10 minutes. When you wake up, the urge to move around or do something immediately is a natural reflex. But getting up too soon will cause your heart, blood vessels, and nervous system to switch to an active state, making it impossible for you to go back to sleep. The Japanese have a special rule called static rest. They allow their bodies to lie still for 10 minutes, breathe deeply, and adjust their posture. If they still cannot fall asleep after 10 minutes, they get out of bed, but do not work, do not turn on the lights, and do not eat or drink. Dr. Helen Morris says, this is the time for the body to test itself to see if it can regenerate sleep. Sitting up immediately often causes the sympathetic system to become more active, which means that sleep will end completely. 4. Do not think. Do not try to solve problems. Once your mind falls into a state of calculation, planning, and worrying, you are pulling your brain out of the pre-sleep state. Especially in the elderly, thoughts such as tomorrow's doctor's appointment, did I turn off the stove, am I sick, easily activate the amygdala, the brain's stress center. Older Japanese people have a different approach. They learn to leave their thoughts blank. They repeat a simple sentence in their head, like I'm safe, I'm resting. This is a sleep meditation technique that they have maintained since their youth. A survey at the Institute of Traditional Japanese Medicine in 2021 said, 86% of elderly people who meditate before going to bed fall asleep more easily after waking up at night, while the group that does not meditate has twice the rate of insomnia. 5. Absolutely do not eat or drink milk at a.m. Some people think that drinking warm milk or eating cookies will help them sleep easier. But in the elderly, eating or drinking in the middle of the night causes the digestive system to wake up, leading to many disorders of the biological rhythm. Dr. Leo Garcia explains, when the stomach receives the digestive signal, the liver, pancreas, and enteric nervous system also work. That means the whole body is pulled out of recovery mode, and the chance of falling asleep again will be significantly reduced. The Japanese absolutely avoid eating after 9 p.m., including fruit. If they wake up in the middle of the night, they only drink a small sip of water, no more. So remember, don't look at the clock. Don't turn on bright lights or blue light. Don't get out of bed in the first 10 minutes. Don't let your mind think or worry. Don't eat. Don't drink milk. Don't stimulate digestion at night. What do the Japanese do at night to avoid sleeping at 2 a.m.? The important question is, why do Japanese people, despite their age, wake up less often at a.m. than Westerners? A 2023 survey conducted by the World Sleep Health Organization in 9 countries showed that Americans over 65 wake up on average 2.4 times in the middle of the night. Meanwhile, Japanese people of the same age wake up only 1.1 times, and most of them fall back asleep in less than 15 minutes. It's not genetic. It's not medication. The difference lies in the evening routine, which Japanese people take very seriously and regularly, like a ritual, especially in the elderly, revealed Dr. Masaru Inoue at Osaka University. This ritual lasts about 20 minutes, designed to guide the body into a state of deep relaxation before bedtime. Here are the 4 main components of the evening cycle that Japanese people apply, helping them significantly reduce the rate of waking up at 2 a.m. 1. Warm your feet, a natural signal that it's time to sleep. It sounds simple, but soaking your feet in warm water or wearing thin socks to bed is a habit that is almost universal among elderly Japanese people. Why? According to research from the Kyoto Institute of Medicine, warming the feet helps dilate peripheral blood vessels, allowing heat from the body's core to dissipate, thereby reducing core body temperature, an important factor in activating deep sleep. A test on 54 elderly people with insomnia showed that the group that soaked their feet in warm water for 10 minutes before going to bed had a 43% reduction in nighttime awakenings. The group that did not soak their feet had no significant changes. Mr. Charles, 86 years old in Illinois, said, "I used to laugh when my friends said that soaking my feet helps me sleep well. But after trying it a few times, I slept more deeply, woke up less often, and especially did not wake up at a.m. anymore." 2. Write a note to clear my mind, to let my brain rest. Many Japanese people, especially the elderly, have a special habit before going to bed, writing 1-2 notes about things that make them worry or have not resolved, not to find answers, but simply to get them out on paper. Geriatrician Dr. Linda Cho, currently collaborating with the University of Tokyo, said, "Older people often carry many concerns in their heads about health, children, life. If those thoughts are still in their minds when they go to bed, they will come back at 2 a.m. Writing them down helps the brain shut down." A small survey in Okinawa showed that 68% of people over 80 years old make quick notes before going to bed, and more than 70% of them sleep through the night without waking up. You can try writing, "I will call the doctor at 9 a.m. tomorrow," or simply, "I am worried about my daughter, but I will think about it later." 3. Listen to steady, wordless, low-frequency background music. Instead of watching TV or playing on their phones, older Japanese people often choose soft, steady, wordless sounds in the background when they are about to fall asleep. Why? Sounds with a steady rhythm help slow the heart rate and reduce activity in the prefrontal cortex, the brain's decision-making and thinking area. This helps the brain drift into a pre-sleep state more quickly, with fewer nighttime awakenings. A popular traditional Okinawan music called amayura, which includes wind chimes, slow-flowing water, and soft bamboo sounds, was used at a nursing home in Tokyo and reduced the number of nighttime awakenings by 34% after 3 weeks. You don't need special music. Just use background sounds like rain, gentle wind, or a stream with a frequency of 60-80 Hz/He. 4. Drink a sip of warm water, but no more than 50 milliliters. Contrary to the idea of drinking milk or having a snack before bed, the Japanese only use a small sip of warm water as a ritual to mark the time for quiet, not to soothe the stomach, but to create a habit of signaling to the brain that the time for reflexes, talking, working, etc., is over. Dr. Masaru Inoue emphasized, "We found that when the elderly perform the same evening ritual for 2 consecutive weeks, the brain will form a sleep pattern and easily avoid waking up at sensitive times such as 2 a.m. If you want to try it, spend about 20 minutes every night as follows. Minutes 1-5. Soak your feet in warm water about 3840 C. Minutes 6-8. Write 1-2 lines of notes about what is bothering you. Minutes 9-18. Lie down and listen to steady background sounds. It can be the sound of wind, rain, stream. Minutes 19-20. Drink a sip of warm water, turn off all the lights, and go to bed. Repeating this process for 7-10 consecutive nights will help reset your body clock and significantly reduce the frequency of waking up in the middle of the night. At the end, you will learn why the Japanese consider sleep a lifelong exercise, not a natural reflex. Dangerous signs if you wake up at a.m. with this symptom, and when you should see a doctor instead of continuing to endure this condition in silence. When is waking up at a.m. a dangerous signs? No one likes being woken up in the middle of the night, especially when the clock is exactly a.m., a time when the mind is easily drawn into negative thoughts, worries, and even fear. However, according to geriatrician Dr. Samuel Price, not all waking up is harmless. If you only wake up and then fall back asleep for 10-15 minutes, it may be a slight change in your circadian rhythm. But if you frequently wake up at the same time with unusual symptoms, it may be an early warning from your body. Here are 5 signs that accompany waking up at 2 a.m. that you should not ignore. If you experience one or more, see a doctor soon. 1. Rapid heartbeat or palpitations. Waking up with a pounding heart, feeling short of breath, or nervousness that lasts longer than 1-2 minutes may be related to nocturnal arrhythmia, a common disorder in people over 60. According to research from Stanford University, 26% of older adults wake up in the middle of the night with an irregular heartbeat, but do not know the cause. If this condition occurs repeatedly, especially after late meals, stress, or dehydration, get checked immediately. 2. Cold sweats, accompanied by mild dizziness. These symptoms can be signs of nocturnal hypoglycemia, which is common in people who are taking diabetes medication or who are eating irregularly. Waking up at 2 a.m. Sweating and feeling a little lightheaded can be a warning sign of low blood sugar levels, says Lisa Chapman, MD, an endocrinologist in Houston. If left untreated, it can lead to chronic sleep disruption and memory problems. 3. Waking up with mild shortness of breath or wheezing. If you wake up feeling short of breath, with a tight chest or wheezing sound, be on the lookout for sleep apnea, a condition that is often overlooked in older adults. The Japanese are especially wary of this symptom. In Okinawa, seniors are routinely tested for sleep with a breathing monitor at home after age 65, which reduces the risk of nocturnal stroke by up to 40%. 4. Accompanied by feelings of sadness, depression, or restlessness. If you often wake up around a.m. and can't fall back asleep because your mind is filled with worries, negative thoughts, frustration, or a lack of interest in life, consider geriatric depression, a very common but under-recognized form. A report from the CDC shows nearly 20% of Americans over age 65 have signs of mild to moderate depression, and people with chronic insomnia are 3 times more likely to have depression. In Japan, seniors are encouraged to meditate, walk in groups, or chat with friends in the morning, which have been shown to improve serotonin and reduce the frequency of nighttime awakenings. 5. Feeling back pain, stiff shoulders, or cramps when waking up. If you often wake up at 3-4 a.m. with lower back pain, stiff shoulders, or calf cramps, the problem may not be sleep, but the structure of the mattress, sleeping position, or lack of minerals. The Japanese pay special attention to flat, slightly firm, and properly elastic sleeping surfaces. They avoid mattresses that sink deeply and pillows that are too high, which helps reduce pressure on the vertebrae and improve circulation during sleep. A 2021 study in Nagoya showed that switching from a soft mattress to a flat mattress reduces the frequency of waking up due to pain by 49% in people over 70. How do Japanese people view sleep after age 60? There is something very special in the thinking of the Japanese. For them, sleep is not something that comes naturally, but a skill that must be practiced every day. The older they get, the more they invest in sleep than in eating and drinking. Mr. Shoji Nakamura, who laid the foundation for the Nakamura Reset method and lived to be 102 years old, once said, "Sleep is like an oil lamp. The older you get, the more worn out the wick becomes. To keep the light stable, you must regularly take care of the wick, change the oil, and keep the wick clean." In the West, the elderly often turn to sleeping pills, while in Japan, they design sleep as part of the art of living fully. From sound, light, breathing habits, sleeping positions, all are done repeatedly until the brain considers it the way to sleep. Summary for people who are waking up at a.m. every night. If you're waking up at a.m. and can't fall back asleep, don't despair. You're not alone. But you don't have to live with this forever. Start with the 3 steps the Japanese use to fall back asleep in just 10 minutes. Turn to your left. Breathe in a 4-7-8 rhythm. Listen to the empty background noise. Avoid 5 common mistakes. Don't look at the clock. Don't turn on the lights. Don't get out of bed right away. Don't think about calculations. Don't snack or drink milk. And most importantly, make a habit of 20 minutes before bed every night, like the Japanese do. Warm your feet. Write a note. Listen to the wordless background noise. Take a sip of warm water. If sleep is a precious gift that old age often loses, now you have a map to find it again. No need for drugs. No need for expensive equipment. Just understand your body and persevere with small habits. Wishing you a good night's sleep, full until morning.